Hello and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to discuss my top 5 book recommendations. So, I started reading pretty frequently a couple of years ago, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's been a consistent habit, and I've read various kinds of subjects, philosophy, fucking science, whatever. So in today's video, I'm going to give my top 5 picks for the best books that I've read in terms of impact that they have had on me and how helpful they are and how practical they are in terms of improving your life and growing intellectually and being able to just live a better life. So I'm going to start from number 5. So I'm going to start from least to greatest. So, or greatest to least. So number 5 is Man's Search for Meaning. So, this is a great book by a dude who was a Holocaust survivor. And the highlight of the book for me is how bad this dude had it in the concentration camps. But he was able to persist and find meaning in life despite his horrible circumstance. And it really gives an insight into the capacity for humans to endure suffering. So that is a nice part of that book. Also, it gives a really, really solid definition of the meaning of life. And basically he says that the meaning of life is different for everybody, but it is what life is requiring or asking of you in your present moment. And it's different for everybody. And he says, there is no, trying to come up with a generalized answer for the meaning of life is the wrong way to look at that question. He says that, sometimes the meaning of life is to survive until something more is required of you. And sometimes the meaning of life is to take your kids to school. Sometimes the meaning of life is to get up and take care of your health. And it's responding to the different things that life is asking of you. So I think he said, in order to answer that question, you have to ask yourself, what is life asking of me, to do in this moment? And, sometimes it's brush your teeth. Sometimes it's, go take care of your mental health. You know what I mean? There's different, it varies, from person to person, and it's based on what's happening right now. So I like that definition because it just encompassed, it just encompassed everybody and everybody's unique situation, and it gave a definition that just really fits anybody and what anybody is doing. So I like that, you know what I mean? I think that it was a pretty solid perspective. I think it was a good book. And I recommend that if you are interested in some of the things that I just described. So, number 4, Endure by Cameron Hanes. Okay, so this is, something I just recently read. It's kind of like a biography where, Cameron Hanes is this dude who, he has a very powerful mindset, and the way that he lives his life is also very powerful, I would say, in terms of his approach could be universally adopted, and it would probably help 99% of people achieve their goals, because his basically his mindset is to give his best effort every single day, to expect a lot out of himself every single day, and to wake up at before 4 a.m. and get up and go. He runs like a marathon a day, and he has like a passion in life that he's constantly pursuing on a daily basis. And it's a book that if anybody can adopt the kind of mindset that he has, and it would probably help them move closer to living the kind of life they want to, because the biggest barrier between where you're at now and where you want to be is ultimately the work that you have to put in to get there. And someone like Cameron Hanes is someone who embodies the optimization of the process of doing the work to get to the point where you want to go. So that, if you're interested in anything like that, again, I would check out that book. I think it's pretty good. So number 3 on this list is Atlas Shrugged. Okay, so, if you're familiar with some, intellectual, ideas and philosophy, Ayn Rand might be familiar to you, and she's a pretty controversial author and philosopher. But personally, when I read her, I listened to the audiobook of Atlas Shrugged, and I thought that, like, if most people tried to implement the ideas that she has, the world would be a fucking amazing place, because it's about respecting other people. It's about taking responsibility for your goals and being independent. It's about self-reliance. It's about trying to achieve your own happiness. It's about if everybody takes responsibility and lives independently and is self-reliant and respects other people, and then we would have a harmonious society where everybody's mutually trying to strive for the goals that they set, that are going to make them happy once they achieve them. And because that's basically what Ayn Rand claims is the purpose of life, is to achieve your own happiness. And what that means is that happiness is something that has to be earned. Excuse my dogs in the background, but so basically what she claims is that happiness is something that has to be earned. So it's not like there's a difference in the happiness someone can claim to get from like playing a video game versus the happiness someone gets from thinking about what they want to achieve in life, thinking about, and then thinking about how they could get there, and then putting in the work and achieving it. So for example, let's say what you want to achieve is financial independence. What you want to achieve is financial freedom. Well, then, you would have that as your goal. And, there's a difference in the happiness you would get from achieving that goal versus the happiness you get in, smoking a cigarette or something. So, I agree with that. And like I said, I think that, if people thought like her, and if people adopted her ideas, we would live in a way better society. much more independent society, much more respectful and harmonious society. So I think that her ideas, from my perspective, are rational, and they lead to human flourishing, and they lead to independent flourishing. So I would, if you want to get an intellectual advancement in your mind, if you want to entertain a new way of thinking that is very rational and can lead to self-flourishing and can help you look at the world through a perspective where, that is principled and rational, then I suggest for you to check out Ayn Rand's novels, because personally, I agree with just about everything that I've read from her, and I think it's powerful. I think it can really help a lot of people, intellectually and in life. So, if you're interested in any of that, again, Atlas Shrugged is the book to go. Okay, so I'm back. I had to address that dog situation, but let's get right back into it. So number 2 is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So, at this point in this video, you should be familiar with the fact that me personally, I highly value the mindset that people adopt where they live a life and have an approach to life that is highly efficacious when it comes to achieving goals. I mean, personally, I have a strong desire to achieve some goals in my life, and reading books like Endure by Cameron Haynes or Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, these individuals, they have biographies. These are what these books are, and they go into detail and in depth on how they became that person that wakes up at 4 a.m. and lives this highly optimized, disciplined life when it comes to putting in the work that is required to achieve anything. And that is something that really I seek out, because I want to build a similar mindset. I want to live in a similar way. And, because I have that desire to achieve some goals in my life, and reading books like Can't Hurt Me or like Endure by Cameron Haynes are like gold in terms of getting insight into those kinds of individuals and the kinds of mindsets that they have, and really how that just separates their ability to achieve things versus a lot of other people's ability to achieve things. It comes down to their mindset, it comes down to their discipline, it comes down to their work ethic. So Can't Hurt Me is a great book like that. It's a biography where this man goes from living a very suboptimal life and transforming himself into a highly disciplined individual who goes on to basically develop a kind of willpower that is insane. Like ultra-marathon runner, Navy SEAL, just the ability to push himself through suffering is like off the charts, right? So that's a lot of what that I got from that book personally. Like I said, the mindset that highly performing individuals adopt, highly successful people, very high achievers adopt. Me personally, that's something that I love to read about and try to implement into my life. So if that's something that's interesting to you, maybe check that out. So Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Okay, so number 1 is, again, The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. So, previously I've mentioned an Ayn Rand book, and this, The Fountainhead, I think is by far the best book I've probably ever read. And I think that, in order to figure out why it's such a good book, you just have to read it, because, for me personally, it just shed a lot of light on human nature, and it shed a lot of light on just the power that you have as an individual. You have so much power as an individual. You have free will, and basically you have a choice. You can live in this very rational, principled, optimized way where you could really live an amazing life, or you could be, swept away by the culture of your society, by irrationality and unprincipled stances on anything, and you could become a human who lives a very suboptimal life. And you have the power to choose, and you have the power to live an amazing life or a very suboptimal life. And it boils down to philosophy. It boils down to how you live your life on the principles that you stand for intellectually when guiding your existence. So that book right there is just like a guide for any individual who will ever live in any society on how to intellectually live a optimized life in terms of trying to achieve the highest kind of flourishing you can. So that was, for me, a fucking amazing book. Huge intellectual boost, really fucking helped me crystallize a lot of my ways of seeing myself, seeing just human nature. And yeah, I recommend that to anybody. So those were my top 5 book recommendations. Like I said, I've been reading consistently for like 5 years or something. And it's something that I've gotten so much out of that habit, and I highly encourage other people out there to read consistently as a habit, like how you exercise your body. You got to exercise your mind, and reading is one of the ways in which you can do that. And it also really comes down to what you're reading. You have to ask yourself questions. You have to think and be selective about what books you actually commit to reading, because not all books are created equal, and there are some really terrible books out there, and you have to really select what you're going to get the most fucking bang for your buck for in terms of books. Like there's amazing books that could change your life, and there's just fucking shitty ass books that are pretty garbage. So you have to be selective. And so hopefully this list can help you have something maybe you want to read, because personally, I think all these books are amazing. So if you're looking for something to read, maybe you could read something off of this list. So, that's all for today. And, those are my top five books I would recommend. You got Man's Search for Meaning. You got, what the fuck was number 4? Oh, Endure by Cameron Haynes. And then you got Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. And then you got Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And then you got The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. So those 5 books right there. Fucking amazing. Check them out. And yeah, that's it for today. So if you've enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you motherfuckers in the next one. Goodbye.